opponent. Nothing like that's ever happened before. This is high-level election interference. They want to damage me so that when you go to the poll, well, I don't know. And it happens a little bit like these maniacs back there. Trump is facing indictment. This is a Biden indictment. This was done by the Biden White House. This is not an indictment. This is a Biden. I challenge the election. I challenge. And we're releasing proof more and more. I want this to go. I want that challenge to go because they don't have a chance of winning. Think of it. Think of it. We challenge the election. Every Democrat challenged the 2016 election. We challenge the election, and they indict you for that. Biden has boxes by the thousands, that he wasn't president, so he wasn't covered by the Presidential Records Act. That's meant for this. I did nothing wrong at all. In fact, my boxes, it was secure. Everything was good. This guy, he sent them to Chinatown, to Penn, to Delaware, to all of them. He had somebody, the Corvette, in his garage, which was leaking with a garage door. You could cut those doors open with a scissor. They're the kind of door, you buy them for like $200 on television, right? That's the door security. And Biden had a son who happened to be in that house. He stayed in that house. But you know where they had they had a lot of them? In a place called Chinatown. In Chinatown. And now it turns out that they moved in and out of Chinatown. All over the world we're left at. I want to thank my New Hampshire senior advisor who's been with me right from the beginning. He's been an incredible guy. Steve Stepanak. Where's Steve? Steve, wherever you may be, there he is. Thank you, Steve. Great job. He's always working. Our New Hampshire co-chairs, Bruce Breton and Lou Gargiulo. Lou, thank you. Bruce, thank you very much. Great guys, great people. Hillsborough County Attorney, John Coughlin. Thank you, John. A man that's been with me really from the beginning. He's the first person with me. He used to tell me, that's right, Corey. He used to tell me, sir, you're going to win by so much. I put him on about 6 months early. How we doing, Corey? Sir, you're leading in every poll. Even if there was no poll, he'd say that. Because he wanted me to run. I said, well, let's take a look at it, Corey. Let's just take a look. Sir, you do it every day. He'd come in. Sir, you're winning. You're killing everybody. How do you know, Corey? Oh, it tells you everyone. I just know, sir. And he was there right from the beginning, and we had an incredible relationship right up until this day, and it'll be going on for a long time. He's a very special guy, and he loves this state. He loves New Hampshire. He lives here. He loves this state, and I'd like to introduce Corey Lewandowski. Where is Corey? Corey, get over here, Corey. Corey, come up here, Corey. Come here, Corey. I got to get him up. Come here, Corey. These people love Corey. This is his place. Come here, Corey. Say something, Corey. How great is Trump?
Guys, we won it twice. We're going to win it one more time to fix this country. Donald Trump for New Hampshire. Donald Trump for America. Thank you, guys.
He didn't know that was going to happen. That was a very good job. And another one with tremendous spirit. I watched her on television 2 days ago, defending me and fighting for me. Caroline Levitt. Caroline, where are you, Caroline? Hi, sweetheart. Hey. Boy, you're doing a job. She's doing a job. Oh, I don't want to be against her. I don't want to be against her. That'll never happen. Thank you, Caroline. Honorary chair of our New Hampshire Veterans for Trump Coalition. You know this man very well, Al Baldessaro. Al, thank you, Al. He loves our vets, and I love our vets, and he makes sure that we take care of them. And we did, like nobody's ever taken care. You know, the VA, the Veterans Association, and hospitals, and all of them put together, they have so many different groups. But we got the highest rating that we've ever had. We had a 92% rating for approval, job approval, or taking care of our great vets. Al was a big help, but everyone, the VA, everyone said there's never been anything close. And you look at second place, it was like 51%. Nobody's ever done that job, and it's an honor. You have a lot of vets up here. It's an honor to have done it. It's an honor to have done it. We're going to be building a big VA hospital up here, too, which you don't have. You know, I think you're the only state that doesn't have one. And we had that all set to go, but then we had a little election that went astray. So we have to be careful. You got to get out there and you got to watch those voters. You don't have to vote. Don't worry about voting. The voting, we got plenty of votes. You got to watch election night. You know, it used to be election day, election night. Now it's election month. Now it's election period. Some of these things go on for 53 days. It's terrible. We want to bring it back. Same day voting, paper ballots, right? Voter ID, voter ID. Let me see, here, voter ID. But today I'm very pleased to receive the endorsement of a very special person, Belknap County Sheriff Bill Wright. Thank you, Bill. Where's Bill? Where is Bill? Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much, Bill. That's a big endorsement. We have the law enforcement endorsements. They're all over. They're all over. We love law enforcement. They're greatly respected. They don't know that, but they are greatly respected by the people, by the real people. Greatly respected. Thank you very much, Bill. Appreciate it. 4 days ago, crooked Joe Biden gave one of the most dangerous and deluded speeches ever delivered from the Oval Office. It was disaster. Not only presentation, which wasn't too good, it's the words that were really bad. Less than 1 week after, innocent men, women, children, and babies were kidnapped, raped, tortured, slaughtered in the worst terror attack in Israeli history. It was the worst in the history, actually. Babies, I guess they said 42 babies with their heads chopped off. Think of that one. They don't even want to talk about it. Crooked Joe went before the American people and said that if you want to support Israel, then you have to give a blank check for the proxy war also in Ukraine, having to do with Russia and Ukraine, which is another one. By the way, it would have never happened if we were president. If we didn't have that election, you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have inflation. You wouldn't have had the attack on Israel. You wouldn't have had a lot of the horrible things. The world is exploding. If you take a look, I mean, the whole world is exploding. You know, I was very honored as a man. Viktor Orban, anyone ever hear of him? He's probably like one of the strongest leaders anywhere in the world. And he's the leader of, right? He's the leader of Turkey. Fronts on both Russia. Yeah, you could sit down. We'll be here for a little. We got plenty of time. What the hell? I'm very honored that you're all standing, but sit down. They'll be standing in a couple of minutes as soon as we say some of the things they like, because they're waiting. They're waiting for that. But Viktor Orban, and he's the head of Hungary, and he runs it tough. Let me tell you, he runs it properly. He runs it strong with crime and everything else. He runs it strong, and he doesn't let terrorists into his country. They said, what do you recommend for Joe Biden if you could tell him anything? I'd tell him to resign and let Trump become president, because nobody ran China, Russia, North Korea. Nobody ever did a job like Trump did a job. I tell him to get out, let Trump run things like he was doing for 4 years. Little truth to that, maybe a lot of truth to that. Biden said that if you want to stop terrorists, then you have to give him billions of dollars to support illegal aliens invading the United States. You know, many of the people coming in, you notice there are so many young men, young, strong men, and they're coming in from areas that are right now in war. A lot of different areas. We have a lot of wars going on all over the place. We had no wars. We beat ISIS, 100% of ISIS. You know what we did. But we have a lot of different spaces. You could very much end up in World War III because we have an incompetent president. You know, the United States has such a tremendous influence on what's going on in the world, and a lot of people didn't realize it until lately. You have to be respected as a country. Maybe feared, but really respected. You have to be, at a minimum, respected. Joe Biden's speech was a grotesque betrayal of Israel and a confused mess of neocon, warmongering, and American last lunacy. American last, they want America last, ladies and gentlemen. Pushing conflict abroad and distracting from as many disasters at home. I mean, look at home. Look at what's going on. And you haven't even seen them. They've allowed, I believe, 15 million people into the country from all of these different places like jails, mental institutions. And wait till you see what's going to happen with all those people. They're not coming in just because they like our weather. They like our weather. They're coming in for a lot of bad reasons. Crooked Joe can't even walk up the children's stairs in Air Force One, you know? Now, doesn't that look terrible? You see a man come at you, want to see a man walk out, or a woman walk off Air Force One, nice and high, wave to everybody. This guy goes through the little stairs. We call them the children's stairs. And now he's made it a common practice because he can't quite make it up or down. I think he has a bigger time making it up. Usually it's supposed to be easier. I don't know. Let's not even think about it. Or find his way off a stage. He can't find his way off a stage. You ever see makes a speech, if you call it that. Okay, thank you. And they're screaming at him. They're saying, no, you got there, you got there. Man, he can make a bad speech, but you got to be able to see, you came in here, I can even go out there, I see there's an exit there, exit here, you got exits all over. It's unbelievable. And this guy's in charge of the most dangerous time in our history. He's in charge of it, and the weaponry is so massive and so powerful that this won't be World War II or World War I with army tanks running around shooting at each other. World War III will be an obliteration. It'll be something like nobody's ever seen before. And we have a man that's not capable. He's not capable. They're really good at cheating on elections, but that's not him. That's a whole group of radical left lunatics. To every American who's terrified that Crooked Joe's weakness will cause catastrophic global conflict, excuse me, it already is. I make this promise to you as president. I will restore peace through strength, and we will stop World War III. We will not have World War III. And I know all the players. I know them all. Because it was Joe Biden with his weakness and what he did with Iran and others that caused the attack on Israel. That's very simple. They would have never attacked Israel, never. Russia would have never attacked Ukraine. You wouldn't have inflation. You wouldn't have any inflation right now. It was energy that went up like skyrocketed. He stopped it. Just no more. Let's have everything. Thank you. He sounds like a good candidate. Who said that? Stand up. Let me see. He's a real man. Unlike Joe Biden, I will stand with our friend and ally, the State of Israel, 100%. We'll stand with them 100%. And unlike Crooked Joe, I will fully support Israel's mission of ensuring that the terrorist group Hamas is defeated, dismantled, and permanently destroyed. They have to destroy them. And they have to be careful in their type of attack. Going in is a lot of risks to that with the mines that are put all over the place in the tunnels probably. Bad things can happen. There's other ways of doing it also, but they know what they're doing and they have to do it right. But they have to be tough and they have to win. They have no choice. They have to win. Even as Biden was speaking, Iranian proxies were attacking U.S. military assets in the region. As he's speaking, they're actually shooting into our different military bases, forts. They're shooting in missiles, and we're saying, oh, it's okay, just another day. It's not another day. You remember when I did something to Iran and they shot missiles? Well, those are typically very accurate missiles, but did you notice every single one of them missed, right? I wonder why they missed. I wonder why they missed. They went at a certain base that we had, a lot of people in that base, but they all landed a little outside the base. I wonder why. Someday you're going to think about that. Then you're going to think about, did we know they weren't going to hit the base too? But they didn't hit us. They needed some kind of reply, I guess, but they didn't hit us. Crooked Joe is not feared, he's not respected, and he's regarded by our enemies as a joke. They don't even believe it. When I'm president, America will be respected again like never before, just like never before. And our enemies will know that if they harm a single American, we will hit them faster and harder than they've ever been hit before. In addition, upon my inauguration, and it's our inauguration, I call it, our. It's not mine, it's our. We have to bring our country back. It's not an easy thing to do. Would you believe what's happened to the USA in the last 3 years? But I will immediately reinstate all sanctions on the murderous Iranian regime. You have to do that till we have a deal. If you will not enforce sanctions against Iran, then you do not stand with Israel. It's that simple. It's all about Iran. It's not about these others. It's all about Iran. They know everything that's going on. They probably laid out the game plan. And Joe Biden won't do it. I wonder how much money he's receiving from Iran, do you think? Gets a lot from China, that we know. But I will do it. When I came into office, Iran had $70 billion in foreign exchange reserves. It was loaded up with money. That's from Obama. Its piggy bank was full, and it was also full of terrorists. By the time I left, they had nothing. They were broke. They were broke. The Iranian regime could barely afford to turn out the lights, and we had a lot of interesting discussions. We would have had a deal with Iran, one that was good for everybody, one that was good for them. They might have not have known it at the time, but it would have been good for them. But that not give them access, we cannot give them access to nuclear weapons. We would have had a deal within 1 week after the election. I believe that. I believe that. They were ready to make a deal because they were they were poor. They were actually poor. China, I said, if you buy, you're not going to deal with the United States, so we're going to tariff you at a level of about 100% on everything you do sell in. I said that to India, too. I said it to other nations, and they weren't buying oil from Iran at all. They weren't buying any oil, and Iran was not doing well. And the $70 billion that they had was actually, I think, closer to $100 billion. It disappeared very rapidly. And if you notice, all of the problems, all of the big problems, they all stopped. And I never talked about it during my 4 years, but look what happened. We didn't have any attacks in the United States for 4 years. I never wanted to say it during, because I say, I can't say it. I wanted to, for 2 years, I wanted to say, look how good things are. We had the ban, we had the whole thing banned. They said, oh, that's such a terrible thing, a ban from horrendous, dangerous nations. We had a ban. I think that's okay. But we didn't have an attack for 4 years. About 2 days after I left, I said, how good did we do? We did great. We did great because we were respected and probably feared. But the election was rigged and it was stolen, and sadly, Crooked Joe surrendered my tough sanctions immediately to Iran. And now, once again, Iran probably has close to $100 billion to finance terror, and Israel's paying a big price. They're paying a very big price. Iran is a very rich country right now. When I left, they were broke. They were broke. And they would have made a deal very quickly, but now they're very rich, and I think it's very hard to make a deal. The minute I'm back in the White House, not only will I impose the most crippling sanctions in history, we will also unleash the most powerful economic weapon. We will drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill. Most powerful weapon. Can you believe what we're doing with the electric cars? All electric. Nobody wants them. Oh, we want all electric. Darling, I'd love to drive to New Jersey, but the car won't go that far. I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop 7 times, darling. Remember the old days when we had those old-fashioned cars that would just drive you to New Jersey and back on a tank of gas? It's nothing like the modern times when we have to stop 7 times to get a charge. Under the Trump administration, we had energy independence, and soon we would have been energy dominant. We were going to be selling our energy to Europe instead of Russia, selling it. And we would have been taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We would have been reducing our debt. We would have gotten our debt, which is tremendous now, tremendous. I was doing that, and then we got hit with COVID, and we had to do other things. We got hit with COVID at the end. We had to do other things. Nobody has ever had an economy, and we did it twice. We did it twice, and actually the second time was really harder because of COVID. We did a great job with that. Never got the credit from the fake news, but we did a great job. We handed him something that was very good. And I got the price of oil below $40 a barrel at some points. Think of it. Gutting Iran's ability to finance war and terror. And likewise, Russia. Russia wouldn't have been able to prosecute the war against Ukraine at $40, but at $100 and $115 an hour, it looks like we're going up to records. With Biden, the price of oil is nearing $100 a barrel. It's going to be much higher than that soon. And they have all the money they want. So these people that like to fight wars that have oil are making a fortune. Nobody's ever made a fortune fighting a war, but they're making a fortune, far more than anybody has ever made before as a country. And they pay the radical Islamic thugs as much money as they want because they have so much money. Crooked Joe surrendered our energy independence, and he made Iran rich again, really rich, and he made America very poor. We're a very poor nation. We owe $35 trillion. We're very poor. And he used the reserves, our strategic reserves. He took it out so that he could have lower gasoline prices for cars. It wasn't meant for, politics. It was meant for wars. And we're now at the lowest level in our strategic reserves in history. In history, nobody's ever remembered. We're down at the bottom. We've never been at a level like that. I poured in a lot. In fact, if it wasn't for Congress, we would have had... I had a deal to buy it for $25 a barrel and even lower than that. But we bought a lot, and we got it at great prices. And it wasn't for the Democrats, we would have had that whole thing filled up at about $25 a barrel. But they thought, oh, you shouldn't do that. We need that for war. We need that for security, not for cars going back and forth so that you vote for somebody because the oil price is 10 cents less. That's not the reason. He attacked American energy while he unleashed Iranian energy. Look what he did with Venezuela. Remember? Venezuela, take a look at that. So am I right? Am I right? Venezuela, we would have had something done with Venezuela. You could have gone back there. Now you can't. He's right. Thank you very much. And I didn't put him out there, by the way. He's not a campaign finance person. But you're right. We're pouring money into Venezuela on getting tar. They have very heavy tar. It's really tar that you have to burn. And you know where it gets burned? In Houston. It's the only plant, it's the only refinery in the world that can do it because it's very heavy, very dirty. And we're doing it, and we're taking it out of Venezuela instead of under our feet. We have liquid gold under our feet. We have more than any other nation, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than anybody. And it's beautiful. Light sweet. Did you ever hear of light sweet? You know what that is? Light sweet. I call it liquid gold, and we have more than anybody. He funded Hamas and Hezbollah. Hezbollah is now starting, you see, in the north. How about the security person, top security person for Biden said, I hope Hezbollah doesn't attack us from the north because that's where we're most vulnerable. Can you believe it? The following morning we get it from the north. No, can you believe the guy he's a national security advisor? I hope that Hezbollah doesn't attack Israel from the north because that's where we're the most vulnerable. The following morning they got attacked. But this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with stupid people. He funded Hamas, Hezbollah abroad while he launched a war on patriotic citizens at home. We're at war. Goes after all of us. I mean, he's attacking his political opponent. Nobody ever got indicted as a political opponent. You know, when you're finished, you're president, but we're not finished. By the way, if I was, I probably would be right now having a good time in life. But I'm having a good time for a different reason because we're going to make our country great again. We're going to bring it back.
Crazy. Thank you, man. But we'll do the exact opposite. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. The spirit, you know, it's amazing. I was saying coming up, every house has a Trump sign on it, everything, and everywhere. In Florida, we left Florida, Iowa, South Carolina, every place we go, the houses, Trump, 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 2024. And I was saying that the spirit right now is greater than it ever was in 2016 or 2020. I mean, 2020 was unbelievable. But they did a lot of bad things, and they used COVID to cheat, and there's a lot of things happened. You know, people couldn't go out. They were afraid to go out. A lot of bad things happened. The ballots all over the place. They had more ballots than they had voters, little things like that, right? But they used it to cheat, and they're not going to get away with it this time. There's more spirit now than I ever saw in 2020 or 2016. You see it here. You see it here. And I think the two reasons are, number one, you saw the job we did. We had the strongest border in history. If he would have, you know, he goes to the beach a lot, right? If he would have gone to the beach and not done anything, he would have the best border. We had the best people. Tom Homan was incredible, right? You know Judd, right? Brandon Judd, he's fantastic. We had the best people anywhere. They're so... You know, Border Patrol, and by the way, ICE, these are great people. These are people that, I know some people in the front row, they're very tough, but they don't want to do the job that ICE does. They go into a pack of MS-13s and they fight. The fists are flowing, and then 2 minutes later, they start taking them out, putting them in paddy wagons, and we got them out of our country. But they fight. Who the hell else is going to do that job? And Brandon Judd does a fantastic job with the Border Patrol, so many great people. And they want to fix it. You know, they could have an easier job if they just stand aside and let them all pour in. That's an easier job. They don't want it. They hate what they see coming in, and they hate that our country's gone to hell. They hate it. They are really amazing. They're great people. I will shut down Iranian energy, and I'll unlock American energy like never before, and we will once again make the Iranian dictatorship very poor. And we're going to make the American people very rich. Look, Iran was broke when I left. I don't want to use a term like that, but Iran was broke. And now they're rich. Over a 3-year period, they have close to $100 billion. They're rich as hell. That's peanuts compared to what they need to keep trying to destroy Israel and other things and other people. We will cut the cost of energy for New Hampshire families in half, and it'll go very quickly. You know, you have the highest energy costs. Is anybody here not from New Hampshire? Anybody here like, whoa. Well, we have a lot of travelers. They like to hear. They like, and we're not, you know, we do the rallies like once a month, but through those rallies. But, you know, people come from all over the country. It's a lot of people, because this is really a very select group of people from New Hampshire, but a lot of people got in. So, yeah, this guy right over here. Front row Joe, right? Front row Joe, stand up. This guy, he sees a lot of these, and we can't get enough because it's just an optimistic. Look, our country's in trouble, really big trouble, probably like it's never been before. But we're going to make it great again. We're going to make our country great again. But we're going to make it. We really still have that chance, greater than ever before. I really believe that. We're going to make it greater than ever before. And so when people like our friends, the front row Joes that are traveling all over the country, I don't know what the hell they do for a living. They must have a lot of money. You must have been very successful. How many events have you guys gone to? How much? 67th rally. That's pretty good. I'm not losing his vote. I'm not losing his vote. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. No, he's a great American. He's a patriot. He wants to see our country do well. But under my leadership, we kept you so safe from terrorists that you never really had to think about it. The Biden came along, he blew everything up. Remember the horrible situation we had with the border, which was a fraction of what it was now, as an example of what it is now. We had a horrible situation with the border. And I came in and I talked about they're coming through, and I mentioned the word rape, and they said, how dare they mention rape? I mean, the large percentages of the women coming up get raped. Large percentages. What I said was like baby talk compared to the fact. I mean, I was actually being very conservative in what I was saying, but they couldn't stand it. But when you looked at it and you saw it, nobody's ever seen anything like that. And it sounded really bad to me. I did such a good job that in 2020, I couldn't talk about the border because nobody wanted to hear it because we had no problem with the border. The border was secure. We had no problem. So I couldn't talk about the border. And I used to say, and I would say maybe it was my biggest or second biggest thing other than the economy and the economics of a country. But it was just about my biggest thing. And I said, you know, I got to talk about the border. I got so used to talking about it. They said, sir, nobody cares about the border anymore. You fixed the problem. Nobody cares. I couldn't even say I fixed the problem. People forgot we had a problem. We had a horrible border in 2016. And then we fixed it. I couldn't talk about it in 2020. I couldn't even mention. People start falling asleep. Then, today, you don't mind if I talk about the border because, man, do we have to talk about the border. But Biden canceled my travel ban on terror-plagued nations. He threw open our borders, surrendered to the Taliban. He totally surrendered. That whole thing was so bad in Afghanistan. That was the lowest moment in the history of our country. He gave away tens of billions of dollars to Iran, swamped American communities with pro-jihadist refugees. That's a nice term, pro-jihadist. And proclaimed that the #1 terror threat was not ISIS or Al-Qaeda, but Trump supporters, MAGA supporters. How about that? MAGA. MAGA is the problem. You know what MAGA is? MAGA are patriots. They're patriots that want to see our country be great. They don't want women raped on the streets. They don't want people mugged and beaten up.